Hey, Yang, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Meg, I am so excited about being here and about this upcoming summit. It's going to be epic.
Oh, it totally is. I am so excited. So, you are going to be speaking at the Become Influential Virtual Summit, which is happening June 8th through 12th. And you are speaking on Thursday, which is our day dedicated to marketing. Thursday, June 11th. I have to do some quick math in my head. Um, and I am so excited to reintroduce you to my audience and talk about kind of this concept of repurposing content and doing so in a way that makes sense for us as parents, because it just seems so time consuming. And that's one thing we don't have a lot of as parents, as time. We don't have a lot of time. So can you start by telling me a little bit about you and your background and how you got into this line of work and formed this
Sure,
empire?
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. So my name is Yong Pratt, and I'm the head content CPR coach at Amplify. You're awesome. My students affectionately call me Dr. Content because I have a way to fix their content woes. And for the summit, we're going to dive into this idea about using the content you already have and repurposing it in a way where your kids can help you. I'm going to give you a framework, give you some really tangible examples of how your kids can help you and how you can literally start as soon as you watch the presentation and get your kiddos in this process of using their skill sets to complement what you're already sharing.
Now, this blows my mind, right? I've got 4 kids. It blows my mind. So let's start with the kiddos. What age kids are kind of required for this approach?
So my youngest started helping me at age 11. So middle school, upper elementary school, it really kind of just depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I've had my kids do everything from do photo shoots for me, to edit videos, to work on my blog, to edit the podcast. So it really kind of just depends on what you need. And you may have to be a detective for a little while and ask some really good questions to figure out where your kiddos can fit in this process. Because I've discovered the hard way that if you ask your kids to help you and they're not super passionate about it, they kind of don't like it, it really is not fun for either party. So definitely just, during the session, I'll give you some ideas on how to sort of extract what your kids can do for you. But really, if you want them to do more high-tech skills, you might want them to be a little older. But I mean, it's so fun. Even when my kids were little, I used to give them a camera to take pictures because their perspective of me and my business and what I did was so different than what I even thought about. It was just a fascinating study to sort of see myself from their eyes.
And I do love that idea. Like, I can just imagine what like my photos would look like for a month if my 4-year-old took them all. For those of us, or those listeners and attendees who don't have kids quite that old yet, so their kids maybe, let's just say they're all under 8, will they still benefit from
Yeah.
attending this session?
Absolutely. Because I think what really happens with a lot of parents, we think that, we have to adult and we have to do things the adult way. And that means leave childlike part of ourselves behind. And if we can remember to tap into our kids and have them help us do things in interesting outside the box ways, it helps us as adults to remember that we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. We can laugh, we can have fun. Business and, online marketing should be a really fun experience. And the fact that when they're younger, you can model for them what a life could look like, living by your own terms and their own terms, I think that's the biggest gift any parent, no matter what age your child is, that we can give to them to prepare them for their futures.
So how did you describe how it looked, where that process of realizing that your kids were a business asset for you?
It's something I thought about for quite a while. I kind of thought I was crazy, thinking that would be weird if I let my kids, create some marketing assets for me. Like, would it fit what I wanted to do? And it really was just an experiment where I was transitioning in my business from my brick and mortar that I ran for 17 years. I had a performing arts school and served, thousands of kids over the almost 20 years I did that. And I was coming into the online space and just really wanted to do things differently. I didn't want it to be so buttoned up, if you will. And I just kept asking this question, what if? What if my kids could do these things for me and I could train them and I could pay them and then ultimately have them be hired by other business owners for their skill sets? And that's exactly what has happened. It was just an interesting question I had. And literally, like I said, I thought I was a little bit nutty for having that idea, thinking, kids in the business, really? But I've really discovered that, my kids have become the greatest asset in my business. And, I think about them in terms of, your greatest asset in your business lives across the hall from you or down the hall from you, literally, because kids are so good at thinking outside the box because they haven't been conditioned by the world quite yet, right? So they have so many amazing ideas, the things they learn in school and the skill sets they're learning with all the technology. I mean, those are huge assets that I know sometimes we as parents can struggle with. But I mean, if we have our kids show us what they can do and we start to acknowledge them for what they can do and how they contribute, that's really where the magic starts to happen, where they start to value their skills because they don't see them as skills, right? My oldest can create websites, but she's like, Mom, everyone can do that. And I'm thinking, well, really, not everyone can do that, but because it comes so easily to them, they overlook it quickly. So if we can be there to support their creative endeavors and encourage them and, give them an opportunity to shine, that's where it gets really, really fun.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Now let's move over a little bit and talk about content repurposing. So that's the topic of the talk. And can you tell me a little bit about kind of what that exactly looks like how you are taking one piece of content and then how it gets split up into other things?
Sure. So I want to just start by saying that content repurposing, people use it kind of sometimes in different ways.
Okay.
In a lot of the ways that I see it, it's about, okay, you're always creating content, go, 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 you're creating, and you're repurposing a little bit. But what I love to do is go back and I call what we all have in Google Drive or Dropbox or on our desktop the content graveyard, right? We all have pieces of content that we slaved over, that we loved, that we promoted a couple of times, and then another shiny object comes in our view and we go that direction. We are just content creators by nature, so we forget all the good stuff that we have created. And what I love to do is really dial in on what it is you already have. So you're not on this endless cycle of creation all the time. You can really take that, you can go through it, and I'll show you a way where your kids can help you kind of curate that content. Because we're going to talk about content CPR. We're going to talk about how to curate it, how to prioritize it, and how to repurpose it in a really strategic way that makes sense for your business. And it is so customized to you and how each person who attends likes to market, and it plays on everyone's strengths, which I'm super excited to find out what everyone does, as far as creating content, because this idea of content repurposing is so awesome because literally what you can take your favorite way to create content and you can spin it another way and it becomes something different. You can spin it another way, and it's really about having this plate of goodies that you can pass around, and it's the same content, but you're presenting it in a little bit of a different way and passing it around the crowd so everyone is getting what they need in a way that they can consume it best.
I am definitely one of those people who is not repurposing my content. I feel like I'm not doing it effectively enough. I know I do some of it okay, but I can't wait to attend the session because I have a Google Doc where I just put thoughts and ideas, and then I kind of forget about it for an indefinite amount of time. And then I just went back yesterday and I was like, oh, look at all this stuff I have written here. These could be social media posts. These could be topics for live broadcasts. These could be, I have so much stuff, and it's figuring out a plan to use it all.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm going to share a document in a process that I use and I've had my kids help me use, where we can help them help us remember those good pieces of content, because we all have this, right? We all have this graveyard where it's like, oh, this idea, it was really good and you're excited about it, and then we just move on, right? So it just really is sort of a process to, again, let our kids see us and our businesses in a different light. Let them see what's interesting from their perspective, because it's going to be different than ours. However, that's a really good thing, because it's just really great to be able to let them be part of this process, let them be a mentor to us. I know, and that's a strange idea probably, but it's so interesting. They have so much to teach us, and the way that they're going to view our content and help us repurpose it is going to be very different, and that's definitely to our advantage.
Oh, this session is going to be amazing. So definitely, if you haven't grabbed your ticket for the Become Influential Virtual Summit yet, registration is open. You can head over to becomeinfluential.com, grab your ticket completely free, and make sure that you are there on Thursday when Yong presents more on content CPR. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today to kind of chit chat, introduce yourself, introduce the topic, and also for putting together such a great presentation on Thursday.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for Meg for inviting me.